right, there it is. All right, whew. Had it minimized.
Don't forget I got a mute here.
That was my fault.
Once it catches up.
Yep. Okay, let me clear chat really quick so it doesn't just say test. And
oh, you can do that? That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Alright, let me just open up my notes really quick. Alright, that
Oh, tweet. Gotta tweet it. That's right.
Yeah, gotta do the retweet on that. Alright, I believe we're live. Let me double check the actual Twitch channel here real quick.
It's Twitch is up.
Cool. I assume we have no viewers yet, but hi viewers, that will be here soon.
How do we feel about YouTube?
Alright, I believe we're live. Let me...
I think they're gonna screw it up somehow.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait and see on that one. I would like to do it, but, you know...
I've gotten tagged for almost nothing as far as, like, content matches are concerned.
Yeah.
So I'm sort of reserving judgment until I see how it works for other folks.
Twitch is making me reset my password.
That will do that.
What? Flying.
Okay. Retweeted, and hopefully that will draw in all the, you know, crazy followers I have. Probably, maybe. Probably not.
What is my Twitch password? Anybody know?
I love balls.
Password 1.
Jive's penis.
How you doing, Dimebag? I see you in chat. Yeah, new Ghost album is totally awesome.
Ugh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, now I gotta find E1M1 again.
Have
Yeah,
fun.
You picked a good background this time, Hannah.
I feel like I've got that down. I feel like
they're
that's
usually
not
pretty
bad.
good, but this is one of the better.
Yeah. All right. So let's get rolling on this. All right, you guys ready to go? I'm gonna do a countdown. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to TVGP's Game Clubcast. We are a bunch of members of the TVGP.tv forums. We get together once a month to talk about a community-voted game. Think of it like a book club for games, and you get to vote on what game we play. I'm your host, The Hannah. With me, as always, is Nintendork327.
Hello, I'm Scott.
And the other Jay-Z.
Hello.
And also with us today is the man who suggested the winning game, and longtime community member.
The man responsible for all of this.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
And longtime community member, Jive495.
Howdy.
Hey. So this month's nominees were Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning, suggested by myself, and Metro Last Light, suggested by forum member The Fred, and, of course, Red Dead Redemption, suggested by our winner, Jive495. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. Red Dead Redemption was released May 18th, 2010. Came out on the 360 and PS3. I played it on 360, specifically the Game of the Year edition. Where'd you play it, everybody?
360.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing special.
360.
Yeah.
360 the first time, the PS3 version this time around.
Oh, okay.
What made you change up, Jeff?
Basically my 360 is packed away and my PS3 is not.
Gotcha.
That was
Did you go out and buy another copy of it?
Yeah, but I found it like for super cheap. I got the Game of the Year edition. It has all the DLC and everything, so it was a pretty good deal.
Yeah. That's the same way I purchased it. I've had it sitting on my shelf forever. I played it and didn't quite beat it, probably about 2-3 years ago. But yeah. So, as I said before, it did get one re-release. The Game of the Year edition came out October 11th, 2011. It came with all the DLC on the disc. This game was developed by Rockstar San Diego. They're responsible for the Red Dead franchise, the Midnight Club franchise, Rockstar Presents Table Tennis, L.A.
Yeah.
Noire, Max Payne 3, but none of the other two, because I believe the other two were Remedy, and they were also involved with GTA 5. And of course, since it was developed by a Rockstar studio, it was published by Rockstar Games proper.
Okay.
Not going to delve into them. They're, it's
Well,
Rockstar.
they've been in the media so much ever since GTA came out and people started trying to get them shut down that everyone knows who they are.
Yes.
It's good to see this plucky little upstart get some success. Isn't it?
And everyone remembers the whole Jack Thompson thing where he tried to sue them. So, so let's take a step back in time and go back to May 2010 when I was, young and dumb.
And had hair.
Yeah, I miss my hair. I'll have to post some pictures on the forums of when it was like down here. So the reception for this game, as many of you know, was excellent. 1UP gave it a 9.5 out of 10, saying that Red Dead Redemption delivers the best video game version of the Wild West yet, with story, characters, and action you can seriously give a word I can't say on here about. That was Scott Sharkey from 1UP. GameSpy gave it a 5 out of 5, and The Escapist gave it a 10 out of 10. This game got ridiculous review scores.
Yeah.
Edge gave it a 10 out of 10.
Who did?
Edge magazine.
Oh, yes.
I don't think this thing got below a 9 in any publication or website.
No,
And if it did, somebody was trolling.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it comes down to. If we look at sales numbers for this thing, year to date, 12.5 million sold between...
Year to date.
Yeah.
This year it sold 12.5 million copies.
No.
No. I mean, from release to date. Sorry.
Okay.
It sold 12.5 million between just 360 and PS3, which is pretty big numbers, even for a Rockstar game.
It's stupid numbers.
It
Yeah.
better be. They only put out one game every 4 years. It's got to last them.
It's got to go a long way. I was sort of surprised when I went back to look at what else came out around the time this game came out. I was sort of expecting it to be a light list and just sort of not a whole lot, because games don't really come out in May.
No, they didn't
Generally
used to.
speaking. Well,
That's my favorite part of this show, I think, is this section where we go, oh, wow, there's a crud ton of games that are
Yes.
really good.
well, and let's go down the list here. So between April and June 2010, that 3-month period surrounding this game, you had Splinter Cell Conviction come out. Nier, which not a huge game, but I know it's near and dear to a few people.
Leave the puns to me.
3D Dot Game Heroes came out.
I love that
also.
game.
Yeah,
That was
It was a-
actually my original pick, and then I switched it to this.
It was
Yeah.
a
Jive.
fun.
Oh, now I've got an issue with you. You made me play this game when we could have had 3D Game Heroes.
Yeah.
it's a bummer. Skate 3 came out around this time, which is a weirdly successful game from what I've heard. Like,
Yeah,
people
it's an
are
awesome
still
game.
buying it to this day.
I don't know anyone who's ever owned or played it.
Really?
You know me.
Oh, all right. We also had Lost Planet 2, which I think was the last real game Capcom put out, except for Street Fighter. Alan Wake came out in May as well. I think it might have even come out the same day as Red
What a
Dead.
weird time of year to release Alan Wake.
Right? You think you'd wait
That's
for like
an-
October.
That is an October release if I've ever seen one.
But then
Does
again,
anybody-
it wouldn't have made the splash it did if it came out in October, especially in 2010.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah. Super Mario Galaxy 2. So you
Wait.
Whoop, huh?
Anybody know the Alan Wake trivia associated with Game Club?
They already did it?
No.
Yes, but it was the first game that we did when we came back from being TVGP plays.
That's correct.
Ah.
Yes, that was the first.
Game Club number 11.
I love that game so much.
It's very good.
It is excellent.
Holds up too. I mean,
does.
The product placement is still a little weird, but aside from that, holds up.
Duracell.
Yeah.
We got Super Mario Galaxy 2. We got Blur, which finally came out of beta.
I loved Blur.
Blur
I think I'm
was-
the only person who loved that game.
Blur was really good, but they kept that thing in beta for so long. It was like a solid 6 months.
I didn't even pick it up until years after it came out, and I was
Oh.
like, "Wow, how did I miss this? This is great."
Yeah, well, you missed it because everyone had played it before it even came out.
Yeah.
Alpha Protocol, TVGP favorite, which another game that we've already done on here, and Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, while not a huge release, is kind of a weird milestone for that series. And I don't think it's even a discussion. This game was top of the pile when it came out. 100%.
Yeah, I mean, Alan Wake and Mario Galaxy had a shot,
No.
and then this just blew them away once
Yeah.
people started getting a hold of it.
Yeah, this game spread like wildfire.
Ah,
Yeah, well, you know. But yeah, no, this is yeah, that's a heck of a list of games, and for Red Dead to come out on top after, I mean, if you think about it, this game's not even related to the previous Red Dead game, Red Dead Revolver.
which was very good in its own right, but was kind of, everyone sort of forgot about it.
It was really arcadey, from what I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think there was like levels, and I actually never played through that. I watched my guitar player play through almost the entirety of it.
nice. Yeah, that's a good one. But yeah, so let's get into it. First hour, what did you guys like?
Go ahead, Jive, you're our guest.
Well, what's not to like?
Oh, I've got a list, Josh. I've got a
That's
list.
coming later, don't you worry.
Yeah.
That's the next section here.
I don't know. This game was, I don't know. It hit so many marks for me. It kind of gave me that walking out of the vault for the first time in Fallout 3, you know, coming over the ridge and just seeing all the stuff out there.
yeah.
It's like knowing that you can just ride there eventually.
I'll give it that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll concede that it was a little awe-inspiring at times.
Yeah,
Especially-
that scenery
especially
is
when
really
it came
hot.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
mean,
think it
even-
still holds up for the most part, too.
Yes.
I mean, even playing on the old, you know, a generation ago at this point, I mean, this game's 5.5 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And aside from, you know, some resolution issues because it's just, you know, it's an old machine.
I will say
It
some
still
frame
looks
rate
amazing.
issues too.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, yeah.
Frame rate, yeah.
Skyboxes, I mean, just the animation, design, all of it.
Yeah.
Just beautiful.
The sound, too. I mean, it's got...
Yes.
I don't know, just the music, the random music, the little tunes, the just sound effects, everything. It's
Yeah,
all
the
perfect.
ambient noises of the animals as you're
Yeah.
riding through the wilderness is really, really. You wouldn't think it would be powerful, but it's enough to make you go, "Ooh, I need to hunt that thing."
Yeah, and how
I
it could
feel
just
like-
go from total silence to and like listening to all the animals to just some song just ramping up, and it's just like, yeah, now I'm gonna go ride and kill something.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of those animals wanted to be shot. It's like, I've never heard, you know, animals don't just start making noise when you get close to them. Like, they were, hey man, over here, over here, over here.
Nope. Left. Other
Yeah,
left.
the game is entirely populated with Navi.
It's not that bad. Wow. All right.
So what else jumped out for you, Jeff? Sort of that first hour, kind of the Bonnie stuff. Any of
Yeah,
that?
the voice acting, just everything, the characters. I mean, there wasn't. I mean, it just sucked me right in right away. I mean, there was nothing that I can point out that I thought was bad.
Nice.
Yeah, for
Wait,
for a
Josh.
Rockstar
I'll
game,
get there. I'll pick you up.
Okay.
For a Rockstar game, I do have to say this is probably one of the most overall polished experiences I've ever had with one of their games.
I will say yes to that as well, but the original release before it got patched had some real crazy open world jank going on.
Oh, there was some crazy glitch, like the floating horse. And,
Or the people with animal heads.
yeah.
That was pretty awesome.
I think that was just Will Wheaton with his horse head.
Yeah, probably. No, they did have some serious weirdness going on with it when it first came out, but it's, from what I can tell, they ironed most of that out eventually.
I mean, it's still got a little bit of stuff like that, but you know, you go back and you play even GTA 4 these days, and it's still glitchy as hell.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And you know, granted, that's in a city and stuff, but I think as far as actual acreage, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I guess GTA 5 is, you know, like 200,000 square miles or something ridiculous, but this is a real big world for them to
Yes.
have to kind of keep sewed together, and I think by and large they did a real good job.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
It spans 2 countries.
Sure does. I thought the story was really engrossing right out of the box there too.
Wait. Okay, I can't
You
keep
disagree?
silent anymore. I can't keep silent anymore. You mean the 15-minute train ride that we got? That grabs you right away?
I actually liked
Put me
that.
to
I
sleep.
did too. I thought it added a lot to the world.
Nope.
It's very much that Half-Life. You're going through
Yeah.
the area, and you're getting sort of a guided tour of the place you're in, and in this case, sort of the time period you're in. And I think for a game like this, it's valuable.
It may have tried to do that, but it did not do that for me. All it succeeded in was putting me to sleep, and by the time I got control of my character, I almost didn't care.
Yeah, they should have called that train the Exposition. Because that's all it was. It was just, here is place. Here are people in this place. Why are we going to this place? We are going to place for thing. And then they just throw in, like, I don't know, 10 racist comments about Native Americans, which seems unusual given that we're in, what, 1911? Like, I know that hasn't gone away today, but it's not like they just won the West, you know?
It's not as unusual as you'd think.
The Redskins are still a thing.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying. But no, I actually had a couple notes about that initial train ride here. So I'm convinced that priest was going to touch that girl in a way that was not good. That dude was creepy.
Without question.
I totally agree.
And she was a little dumb. It may have just been naivety, but like she just came across as kind of like, I don't know what anything is. I'm just going to trust this guy. And it's like, oh, honey.
Well, you eventually run into her again out in the wild as a side quest, and she is very dumb.
She is not smart.
Yeah, they drive that point home.
I was glad to see them follow through on that. Oh, but
you find her up against a rock or something. She's like all bloody and stuff. She's like, I need an aspirin or something like that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Go back to town and get it.
And then you give her an aspirin, and she's like, praise Jeebus.
Yeah.
That's right. Oh, that's right. She's saying that you were God's vector. Like he's sort of you were his messenger, and you were deliberately sent out into the desert to save her specifically.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. Also the old ladies in the hats were crazy.
I love them.
They're great, but they are nuts. That's all I had about the intro train ride, at least.
I mean, all that exposition, I think it served a pretty good purpose. I mean, those old ladies, they were talking about how, the cars were coming and how the West was kind of getting modernized, and that's kind of the whole crux of the story. Like, the old West is kind of being pushed out, and it's getting modernized. And
I don't think that's the crux of the story at all.
Well, kind of.
It isn't even. When does that come into play?
How much of the game did you play, Scott?
What game did you guys play? At what point did anything about modern technology pushing out the West come into play? All I was on was a revenge quest for Bill what's-his-face.
Well, then
Bill
you
Williamson.
didn't play long enough. Yeah, old Billy Williamson.
I laughed out loud at that name. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot. That's real dumb.
The whole thing, it's not just about the technology pushing out, it's not about trains getting rid of horses. It's about the sort of whole ethos and modernization pushing out the sort of cowboy.
Yeah.
Where was that happening? I didn't play a single mission where I thought that was happening.
Really?
I mean, they don't come out and hit you over the head with it like they do on the exposition.
Mm-hmm.
Where exactly are they hiding it?
A lot of the side missions.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just sort of throwaway comments by people in cutscenes and stuff.
And that's kind of why Landon Ricketts is in Mexico, because his kind was pushed out.
Well, the whole thing, you're working for the feds. The feds didn't come out this far west.
No.
Yeah.
Like this is the federal government sort of taking hold of whatever state we're supposed to be in, Colorado, whatever.
Texas, I don't know.
What? When does that happen?
Your whole mission is the feds sent you out to go get old Billy Williamson.
Yeah.
Like they're
right. But for what larger significance? I don't see it playing into this grand ethos that you're talking about.
Because they're trying to push out the gunslinger, that type of character, so they can.
They're annexing
free culture. Yeah.
They're sort of culturally annexing the West.
Yeah.
That's what the game's about. Sort of taken as a whole. You're not buying it, huh?
Sorry, I got distracted by Poker's comment in the chat. We need to ignore that and move on. Sorry.
Yep, got it. Funny question, but
yeah, but not related at all. So I'm sorry. Space the last little bit.
It's just it's sort of the cultural annexation of the federal government and the rest of the United States. Sort of. Yes, now we've sort of populated the West. Now we're going to sort of
civilize the West.
Right, and sort of bring it into the fold.
That to me sounds like an interesting game. I just wish it were the game I played.
It was. I'm telling you.
It wasn't at all.
Well, how far did you get through it?
It was. I got across to Mexico, and I guess that's maybe a third of the way through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it becomes a lot more apparent, kind of towards sort of the beginning of the third act. It gets a little more heavy-handed.
Yeah, I mean, you got to get farther into the game to really get into that.
I've got to get how far into the game?
I don't know. I didn't get that far.
50 hours, maybe. I don't know.
50-ish.
Because there was nothing I played that was that way. It was all about, I'm after Bill Williamson. I need Bill Williamson. Where's Bill? Let's go attack Bill.
That's your John Marston voice?
That's the best I can do.
Okay.
Did anyone else think John Marston looked and sounded like Bill Paxton?
A little bit.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Yeah, I could hear Bill Paxton.
I had to double check the cast to make sure that it wasn't him, because the whole time I'm playing, I'm like, man, this is Bill Paxton.
Yeah, I checked. I also had to check Landon Ricketts because I thought he sounded very much like Colonel Campbell from Metal Gear, and it's completely different voice actor.
I wouldn't be. I can't even make a judgment.
Yeah,
I haven't played a Metal Gear game since 2004, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, so opening in the first hour impressions, gameplay impressions.
Did anyone else name their horse?
No.
No, and I saw your note here, and I wish I had.
I do. I mean, same here.
I named my horse Bojack.
Actually, I don't, because I never had a horse. I had horses.
Oh, really?
It was like whatever horse was around. Okay, I'll just get on this horse.
What version of the game did you get, Scott?
Just the regular edition.
Hmm.
Okay.
I got that because I knew I wasn't going to be getting into it.
Fair enough.
The Game of the Year or pre-order or something, I don't know what I got. I do know it came with more paperwork than a car loan. Between the manual, the world map, DLC codes. I mean, it was a heavy box.
Yeah.
But one of the things that came with that was the War Horse.
Yeah.
Which is basically a horse you just get from the outset. Well, once you get done diving into gorges with Bonnie, and you actually can control yourself, you can just summon this warhorse whenever, and it's got the max stamina and speed and all that. So I knew I was going to be sticking with him.
You alluded to the fact that horse race at the very beginning with Bonnie, right? The very first one.
It's a death race.
It's
was
terrible.
a problem for you all.
Yes, I fell off
with no problems.
I had no problems.
We play the same game.
I'm resenting you for that a little bit because it took me 4 tries to not die at that bridge.
It's the bridge.
It's the bridge.
I had no issues.
Nope.
In fact, it was relatively easy.
I turned the stick to the right so that I would go into the little opening for the bridge, and John Marston took a hard left and jumped off the cliff and died.
Yeehaw.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I did that the first time, and the thing is, it's not real early in the race. It's not a short race. It's probably a good 4 or 5 minutes, and the bridge is like right before your last turn.
Yeah.
So the first time I went through, Bonnie I was ahead of Bonnie. I had like probably a good 3 blocks on her. And I missed the turn, missed the bridge, dove into the gorge and died, and she just kept riding on. Mm-hmm. So I restarted it, happens again, and then the third time, Bonnie went in the gorge, so I just won by default. Because I figured, she's probably going to feel real bad that she just met me. She pulled me, I get shot, she drags me into a wagon, I'm convalescing there for however many days or weeks. First thing she does, all right, let's go for a horse race, boom, in the ditch, I'm dead.
Yeah.
So...
All right, did I miss? You touched on something else too. Sorry to tangent this, but was there ever given a reason why Bonnie saved you? It was Bonnie and her dad that saved you right at the beginning of the game.
I think they just sort of good Samaritan came across you kind of thing.
They just happened to be wandering out by this outlaw's post. And
yes,
said,
it's a Deus Ex Rancher.
Yep. There's a guy dying here. Let's take him home. And
I don't think it's known at that point that, at least in the general public, that this dude is holed up in that old fort. I think they just think it's abandoned. Yeah,
fair enough.
So
there are far bigger things I can complain about than that.
Yeah. The one thing I did really like about the controls was the hold A to follow whoever you're with.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Oh,
that is brilliant.
That makes this game so much nicer to control. You just sit there and go, all right, cool, and you can just kind of tune out. It's great.
Yeah, I wish they had somewhere to be, though. Nobody's in real too much of a hurry.
And that leads me to my next gigantic complaint. Everything about this game is follow the leader.
Yes.
Let's go start a mission. First, we have to ride 50 miles across the wilderness, and then I'll exposition to you as we go.
And they slow down just so they can talk at your face. It's like, I don't care. Let's go shoot people.
Yep.
Oh, I got tired of that so badly.
Oh, see, I loved all of that. I loved it all.
Yeah.
Every mission was
every bit of it.
I was okay with it in the missions, but the thing that really got on my nerves was when I would fast travel to a waypoint, and it would set me like a mile outside of the waypoint because they're like, no, we can't give you that. Like, for no real reason. It would just be like,
I never had that issue.
It would drop me. I would have the red line would be leading right to the little icon, whether it was an M or an I or whatever, whoever I was going to see. I think it was like if it was the first time I was going to that area or the first time I was meeting that character, it wouldn't always fast travel me right to them. It would fast travel me like a little ways away, and it was sort of like it was going like, hey, you should really ride around more. You've been really abusing this fast travel. And I was like, yeah, there's a reason.
It gave you that message too? Oh.
No, it didn't give me a message.
Say that.
Oh,
No.
okay, sorry.
But yeah, that was one of my biggest beefs with the game is that they should have called it Red Line Redemption because all you're doing is looking at the mini-map and you're ignoring all this beautiful scenery and all these cool roads and paths and stuff. And it's like, nope, gotta look at the mini-map.
Yeah,
like,
that got a little
Saints
on my
Row the
nerves.
Third, man. I cannot say enough good things about the way they handled that in that game. And I guess it would be tough to do in Cowboy Land. But they just put the big giant chevrons sort of hologram up on the street. That is great because it keeps your eyes on the screen instead of playing Red Line Redemption.
But I think that's where the follow the leader really came in handy is when you were going to these missions and you were going with people, you could just ride with them and you wouldn't have to look at the map. You could just look at everything else, and they would take you where you needed to be.
Yeah, I do like the exposition in some places, but it did feel like they sort of used it as a crutch in some places.
No, it was every mission.
Yeah.
It got groany to me because I would go up to somebody and I'd be like, well, here comes 2 minutes of riding behind them on a horse. And it wasn't like they locked you together. So it sort of kind of locked you together, and then every now and then you would just start wandering. So it wasn't like I could.
So you had to keep an eye on it. Yeah.
Just enough.
Just enough to aggravate me. It's like was it the Penn and Teller game?
Oh God, Desert Bus.
Desert Bus,
Jesus.
right? It's just enough that you
Desert
gotta
Horse.
keep being there.
So I guess for you guys the first hour kind of wasn't great, huh?
Oh, not for me.
Yeah, I don't know.
I loved it.
I got into it after a little bit. The initial train ride, I was like, okay, I can deal with this. And then a little bit of the expository stuff. There was a great line at the beginning when Bonnie comes in and is like talking to you about like why you got shot out there. And she says, well, what were you doing? And well, basically John Marston tagged up and he was like, something stupid. And it was just a great like exchange between those two. That was one of the things that really caught me was the characters. I really loved all of the characters. The Marshall, Bonnie,
Irish,
Seth. That's a love-hate relationship with Irish.
Seth is the only character I didn't like in the game. He was the only one that kind of gave me, kind of annoyed me a little bit.
I kind of wanted to punch him in his meth-looking face.
Yeah.
Jive.
Yeah.
Guess who my favorite character was?
Jeez.
I mean, he skeeved me out, but still, I mean, they did what they were setting out to do with Seth.
I think they just went a little too Gollum with him. He was,
Seth was the only character I actually like cared about or liked or even was remotely
Why?
interested.
He's gross.
Wait.
Because in a world of bland and boring and stereotypical, a guy eating a corpse was like, wow, okay.
I thought he was just a grave robber.
Yeah.
I don't know that he ate the corpse.
He wasn't eating the corpse. There was a quest with a cannibal, and I shot him in his
My note on Seth is
30 sometimes.
Okay, my note on Seth is he a gay, insane grave robber?
My notes on Seth.
A GIG. Yeah, that's the thing.
My notes on Seth were 2 lines. It was Seth looks like a meth head, and then Seth might actually be a meth head, and that was it. That was my entire.
Well, I mean, he's 1 letter off.
Yes. Hence, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, I really did like a lot of the characters. Like Nigel West Dickens was
He's awesome.
Oh,
He irritated me.
He irritated me, but like I knew that was the point, and it was kind of like I'm gonna shoot this guy eventually. I hope, but then he just goes away. So, but like all his like I'm a man of science. It was like sure you are, buddy. Yeah,
selling snake oil.
Yeah,
I'll fix your wagon.
I liked that they. Another note I had on Seth was I liked that he referred to himself as a professional exhumer.
I don't know that I caught that.
I don't think I did either.
That was a good one.
He's an exhumerist.
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody else got thoughts on the just sort of first hour?
Yeah, I thought it was kind of weird that everyone always called him a city boy.
Yeah, what was up with that?
I am not sure.
Okay, so
I guess if you just come from the east,
or if you get off a train.
Yeah, that's like he got off the train, so everyone's like, "Oh, you're a city boy." It's like,
yeah,
and meanwhile he's got the leather hat and the boots and the spurs. Yeah, city boy.
And the gun and the rifle on his back and the lasso and
all that blood.
The lasso.
Nowhere in the 15-minute train ride opening we couldn't have had a scene showing him somewhere in the city with his family, setting that very point up.
No, you can't because the family comes in later, and it's much more impactful to not have seen them at all. And then when they finally show up,
is it?
Yeah.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. It works a lot better that way. I mean, your mileage may vary. You might not care about it at all once it happens because, of course, you're going to finish this one. But yeah, it does make it a lot more potent.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough.
Right.
But that's a great point. I wondered the same thing. Why the guy that looks like the cowboy here is being called the city slicker?
Yeah, I mean, even if these people don't know who he is, which they obviously don't, just the way he's dressed, the way he can ride a horse, the way he shoots in the game, it's like none of that says city boy.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree. What was some other good stuff that you enjoyed once you got past that first initial shock?
Getting on your horse at a full gallop.
Yeah.
Is an awesome feeling.
I have to agree with that. That is really cool. Except for the 5 minutes you spend before it whistling for the horse and running around and trying to get lined up with it.
Well, my horse
once
was
that happens,
so he was off getting drunk.
It's cool.
He woke up in a pool somewhere or something.
See, that's because you didn't stick with the same horse.
Whistling for your horse and having to get stuck in a ravine and not get to you and gallop endlessly.
Yeah.
Once that just goes by, then you jump on it. That's still cool. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It makes all that irritation just melt away.
Did you guys try jumping like off a balcony or anything onto your horse?
I tried to, and it never really panned out.
Oh man, that's the best. When you can hit that, that's the best.
It's funny because the last couple of days I've been playing the new Metal Gear Solid, and it's weird because you start out in a desert area with a horse, and there's there's a lot of Red Dead Redemption DNA in the new Metal Gear game, which is some place I would never have thought it would show up. And it's really, really. I like, and it's tragic because I played a bit of Metal Gear today, and then I played a bit more Red Dead just to sort of prep for this, and I realized that Metal Gear's just taking what Red Dead did and like evolving it, and doing a really good job with it. So it's kind of like, okay, Red Dead is starting to become like the DNA of some of the more modern games here. What else are we going to see like mixed in with some of the older franchises as they start to try and revamp themselves?
I don't know, but I want Fultoning in Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh, that would be so awesome. Just like hook up to a coyote and just...
He's in space now.
Yeah. One really awesome
Dimebag brings up in chat.
Oh, yeah?
The slow-mo part, which I think I forgot about too much.
What, Deadeye?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think I used Deadeye enough.
We didn't need it because you had the snap targeting with the trigger.
Yeah. The snap targeting was awesome.
I hate that. That just needs to go away.
That was awesome. That was the best part of riding the horse was just you turn around and you can target it. You know what? I think you can turn it off, actually. But I never would have because all you have to do to get rid of dudes is snap onto them, flip the right stick up just a hair, and pull the trigger at the same time, and it's just instant headshots.
Yeah, boom, headshot.
Yeah, I put the reticle down. I wanted to make sure they remembered me.
That's because you're just mean.
Mm-hmm.
No, that was one of my other big notes for this was once you get good with the repeater, you don't need another gun.
No.
You just.
I do like that volcanic pistol.
Yeah.
You
that
bring
one's
up
pretty cool.
You bring up a great point here. I never felt like I needed to buy another weapon.
Same here. Anything I found that was better than what I had, I would use, but I never felt compelled to go out and just like spend money on weapons.
And why would you ever buy a what are they called in the game? They're like the herbs or the healing items.
Because yeah, those plants are everywhere.
Why would you? I never had a need for them. Like by the time I was dead, I couldn't have pulled open the menu. Is there a shortcut? Maybe I missed that. To use a healing item?
I don't think so.
You have to like pull the menu open and then navigate to it. And I was like, by the time I do that, I'm dead.
Yeah.
Well, but there's two different things though. There's sort of your persistent health, and then there's your immediate health. And I think the medicine only fixes your persistent health, which is your red bar.
Okay.
Because you can, I mean, if I remember.
Wait, that red bar down there by the mini map?
The red bar is the Deadeye meter.
That's the Deadeye, right? That's not your health. The health is the screen. It like fades in and turns red.
I thought there was another meter for Deadeye, but yeah, I mean, it's real tough to tell when you're like about to die and really about to die. So like, yeah.
Well, that's what I mean. Is anytime I was in a position where I was getting hit and I took cover, I didn't need the healing item because my health came back. But if I were in a position where I were getting hit and I couldn't take cover, I'm dead anyway. Healing item or no.
Yeah, when you start getting shot, you go down quick.
Yes. You can't be open
as one would expect.
Yeah, for sure. Another really good thing was just the music in this game is phenomenal.
Well, they used it sparsely.
They did. They used it to really great effect, though.
Yes.
Especially the first time you land in Mexico.
That didn't happen for me this time.
Oh, that's a shame.
Just, for full disclosure, I did play this and beat it back in May of 2010. I think I might have done it in a sitting because I loved this game the first time I played it. So I do know the whole thing, but I only made it a little bit through Mexico on this playthrough. But I was waiting for that song to come up, and I don't know if it just read that I had a save already, but it just didn't play it. It was just quiet.
Was there a song? I think I missed. I didn't get this.
There was a really awesome song when you land in Mexico after being on the raft with Irish, and it plays the whole way to the first town, and it's an awesome set piece. It reminded me of another Metal Gear connection here, MGS3, the Snake Eater ladder, when you climb up the ladder and it's playing the theme song. No reason to do it. It's just a cool thing to do.
Yeah.
I fast traveled at that point.
That would be one.
Oh.
That is one of the only spots where I would say ride it out.
They do that also later when you are going to see your family.
Oh, yeah, I bet. But just to plug the song, because it's a good song, period. It's called Far Away by Jose Gonzalez. And it's worth a listen. But just when you land in Mexico and you hop on the horse and you're just like, all right, I'm going to head to this first town here, and I'm going to hook up with whoever I need to get in touch with. And you ride all the way there, and it started playing, and I'm like, okay, maybe I'll just enjoy this ride here.
It's subdued, and it's sort of like, I don't. Again, this is long ago, so I'm just going off of my memory here. I seem to remember it kind of sounded almost like a 12-string acoustic guitar, and it's real mellow and sort of like a real low key, but still not mariachi, but sort of
ominous,
definitively
almost.
Mexican.
Yeah,
and it's just the reason it hits you so hard is because it's pretty calm after you've just gotten off a raft going into Mexico and you shot up like 75 dudes on a rail shooter.
You know what?
No, Jake, I love your note about that.
They should call it a Rio shooter instead of a rail shooter.
Yep.
Well, okay, that's funny. But I mean, where you ride this raft down and you're shooting all these people up, and you get off the boat and you go to town, and then those dudes pick on you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You just your entrance. Like if you were an emissary from the United States, like what you've done is just kill 75 nationals in Mexico.
Yeah.
Before you said a word to anyone, like that was your entrance music.
Yes.
Was just gunshots, and so you get to this town, and there are three dudes standing there. Three Mexican guys who were super, super just stereotypical.
Yeah, it was pretty bad actually.
Yeah.
And they start messing with you, and they're like, "Hey, give me your hat, gringo."
Don't they pull a Terminator and ask him for his boots?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, maybe it was the boots and not the hat.
No, he took his hat and put it on. Yeah,
that's right.
Yep.
And then they challenge you to a duel, and you just have to gun these three guys down in town.
Yep.
Which is the first thing you do in the town, followed, after the first thing you did in the country, which was to murder more Mexicans. So he's not going to be getting a job with the State Department anytime soon.
Yeah, and funny thought I had during that you're on the Rio Grande, and you're like trying to get into Mexico. All I could think was, I'm pretty sure this is what Trump thinks the Mexican border is actually like today. I'm like 90% sure. Like that, like he saw that once and just went, "That's what's happening." Wall.
Oh man,
it was the first thing that came down.
that's pretty funny.
But that whole section with Irish and you're on the raft, that is tense. There's a lot happening there, and you got this rifle with like 4 shots in it. But like if you hit the dude, they're down.
It needed to be a little shorter.
It did. It absolutely
was,
did.
What, 10 minutes?
It was at least 10 minutes. I would have loved to see the assault on Fort Mercer last 10 minutes, because that was like 5.
Yeah, you know what? I was severely disappointed by that. It's a shock, I know.
It was a ton of fun, but it didn't go long enough. Like I would have liked to see, like they shouldn't have. Like, oh, Bill left yesterday. No, that's terrible. No, he should have just left now, and you need to be chasing him.
I was going to say my disappointment with that was you spend the first part of the game collecting all these people to make this big assault, and then the assault happens, and you don't even see the guy, really.
It was like a heist movie starring Clint Eastwood and Adam Sandler and friends. Like the whole beginning of that game. And like John Marston is a saint. That man is herding cats the whole front half of that game.
Speaking of herding.
The herding.
Whoever put cow herding into the game, that needs to be their job for the rest of their life, just as like punishment.
Like actual.
Who thought that was compelling?
Actually go out and herd cattle. Yes.
Who thought that was compelling?
Hey, it wasn't compelling, but I got through it in 2 tries, so I didn't really hate it that much.
I mean, I got to the point that every time I see that B on my map for Bonnie, oh my god,
it didn't stand for Bonnie for me for a while. That's for
sure.
It was awful.
Yeah, that
I
was a
hated
great spot.
Jive. I bet you loved it.
No, that was one of the few things.
Yeah, the herding and the like breaking the horse. Not breaking the horses. Breaking the horses was okay, but like getting the horses was a pain.
But while you're there, you can toss some horseshoes.
You can.
I actually hogtied that guy because I was so frustrated with how bad the horseshoes were that I hogtied him, and the cops didn't like that. They came running. But you know what? I paid the fine. It was worth it because he deserved that.
I liked playing horseshoes.
I actually really liked the 5-finger fillet.
Yeah, that's fun.
I sat there one night and just did that for like 2 hours because I had memorized the pattern, and I got like $3,000 in a night.
I feel like it wasn't as responsive as I wanted it to be.
Not quite.
I feel like it sort of missed some inputs and then added others, and I liked the poker and the blackjack.
Yeah, honestly, with the 5-finger fillet, it's best to memorize what the pattern is and not look at the screen and just input that pattern as quickly as possible.
Well, that was the thing. If you input the pattern too quickly, you just end up it needs sort of like a half a second to accept that next input, or you're stabbing yourself in the hand again.
I never had that problem. I literally I stared at the controller and as fast as I could just tapped it out.
Yeah, it seemed to me the faster. If you try to go too fast, you would just stab yourself.
No, never. I literally never had that problem.
Wow.
Good for you.
Yeah.
You win Red Dead Redemption.
Yay! But the only other game I played was poker when you're with Landon in Mexico.
Yeah, I did the poker, I did the blackjack. I actually played a lot of blackjack.
Yeah.
The thing I didn't like about him, though, is... I don't know if this is a software thing or a hardware limitation. The loading screens on those.
Really?
I mean, every hand. It wasn't a loading screen, but it faded to black, faded back up.
Oh, yeah.
Skip to your turn.
Skipped, yeah.
Fade to black, fade back up. Hands over, fade to black, fade back up.
Okay, I never skipped to my turn, though, so...
And poker's not a fast game to start with,
No.
so, like... Ugh. Gross.
Yep. No, poker was actually pretty fun. I think it was really well put together, and like for a game that size to have a decent like poker game in it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it was better than Fallout's.
Yeah.
Blackjack.
Oh god, Blackjack and Fallout was terrible. But another fun moment was the when you play poker for the first time in Mexico with Landon and his, I won't say friends because that's not what they are.
German acquaintance.
A German acquaintance. You know what it felt like? Have you guys seen The Three Amigos?
Yeah.
No.
You know the dude who really idolizes Martin Short's character? That's what Mueller felt like. He was that guy. For anyone who's actually seen that movie, it's a decent reference. But
It's a hole in my cinematic history.
Oh, that's a shame. It's a good one. And then when he there's a phenomenal line at that point. Because he accuses Mueller, the German dude you're playing with, accuses you of cheating because you've just sat down in the middle of like a game, and Landon has been having incredible luck, and suddenly you're doing really well. You win a couple of hands in a row, and
that happens whether you win the hand or not. By the way.
Oh, really?
Because I folded, and he accused me of cheating.
Oh, really?
Nice.
Really? Well, that makes sense.
So what happened? Yeah, this German dude's the bald German dude. Let me point that out. Is just yelling at you and is like, "You're cheating! You're cheating!" And everyone pulls their guns and like, quick as a whip, Mueller goes, "There must be a name for this."
That was funny.
I liked
that.
Amazing because it's a Mexican standoff.
And they're in Mexico. Standing off.
I laughed out loud at that one because it was just like you don't see that one coming. It was.
And it's the perfect timing too. You know, just.
Yeah.
So there must be a name for this. It was right there.
He nailed it. Yeah. So what other good things are in this game for you guys?
I'm out.
You're out? Wow.
I'm out too. I was out a long time ago.
Oh boy. Okay.
The gunplay is good.
Yeah.
All the voice acting is great, as we've said. It's beautiful. It's it's polished. The wildlife is cool. You don't want to fast travel because then you're going to miss also the sort of incidental stuff you run into. You know, people getting robbed or
trying to rob you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just stopped caring about that so early on.
Mm-hmm.
All that stuff is great. I just don't want to do it again.
The one last thing I have is the horse races do get better. That first horse race is just a bad introduction. I actually enjoyed the next couple of ones he had to do.
I like the wagon races.
The wagon races are a lot better because I felt like I had more
fun.
control over the wagon.
Yeah.
I never had any issue with any of the races.
Yeah, just that first one left a real bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah, gravel.
Yeah.
Gravel was the taste that was in your mouth.
Gravel and blood, mostly. So let's move on to what I'm sure is going to be Scott's favorite section. What didn't you like about this game? And I'm just going to mute myself here. Scott's got like a 6-page
How long have we got
diatribe.
here? How deep are we in?
I mean, we are...
Pulls out his glasses.
Actually, it's not going to be
40 minutes.
It's not going to be
Unrolls
that
a
bad.
parchment.
Yeah.
It really isn't because I have vented a good deal of what I had to say anyway. This game was not meant for me, and that's the bottom line.
Yeah.
I don't care about the setting. I don't care about the Old West. I don't care about the characters for the most part, except for Seth. He was
Oh,
mildly interesting. I just don't care for John Marston, this
Oh,
guy I'm
how
out-
do you not like John Marston?
I'm out to save my family, and I'm gonna be a good guy and a bad guy at the same time. And
Yeah.
It's called an anti-hero.
It didn't work for me. I didn't care.
Yeah,
Shades of Grey, man.
Shades of Grey.
Look, I can appreciate that. I can appreciate he's not the White Knight riding in, and the Mr. Noble guy. I get that. I just don't know why. It just didn't happen. It's an open world game. I can't stand those.
Yeah, I mean, we sort of knew that going in. It was like, oh, it's another open world game. Scott's going to be really entertaining this time.
And it just suffers from all of that open worldness that I don't like. I just don't like. And I'll give you an example of some of the what I consider open world crap that happens. Is I'm riding into town the train into town at the very beginning of the game, and I get out and it's giving me a tutorial or something about buttons. And one of them, as I'm just kind of pressing the buttons, I draw my weapon, and everyone scatters.
Yes.
I don't
I
do
did
anything
that
to anybody.
multiple times.
I don't do anything. Everybody runs for the hills. Oh my god! Meanwhile, everyone in the game carries a weapon.
Yep.
And now, okay, here's this leads into the next piece. So shortly after that, I'm in town, walking around, taking in this scenery.
Yeah.
Into town comes these guys on horses, literally hooting and hollering.
Shooting into the air. Yeah.
Somebody.
Yeah, I dropped them all in the street. It was
So
great.
what do? I go, well, I'm playing this as a good guy, as good a guy as I can be.
Mm-hmm.
I pull my gun out and shoot the guy off the horse. Everyone turns on me. Boom, 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 boom. I'm the bad guy for shooting the guy, dragging the guy with the horse.
I dropped all 4 or 5 of them with Deadeye, and everyone was real happy.
Wow, that's weird.
That's really weird.
It did not happen to me. I shot the guy down and it was dead within a minute. And I was like, whoa, okay, I see. That's how it's going to be. Another example.
Oh, boy.
This is all happening within the first couple of days that I'm playing it. So I didn't get off onto a great start with the game, which didn't help.
Yeah.
So I can't figure out who's got a mission and who doesn't have a mission. I'm going up to everybody trying to talk to them. Some people talk to you, some people don't. Some people have things to say, some people don't. And then it gets to a point, I guess, where there's a blue dot when they actually have a mission.
Yes.
So, okay, I know the blue dot people have a mission. So I go up to
The blue dot people.
I go up to the Smurfs. And I say,
Smurfs.
and one guy,
Yeah, they're like Kmart employees.
Yeah.
one guy tells me, my horse has run off. Go get it. Okay, I'll go get your horse. I get on my horse, ride out to his horse, who's wandering around, rope it,
Mm-hmm.
get on it. Well, how am I going to get it back? It didn't follow me back on my horse. It
You have to keep it lassoed.
Well, it kept breaking away. How do I keep it lassoed?
No idea.
Don't you just climb on it and ride it back?
That's what I ended up doing.
Yeah.
I left my horse, which is why I was saying I never really got into my horse because it seemed like I was just on whatever horse was around. So I get on this horse.
So
and
you were a horse thief, is what you're saying.
Grand Theft Horse.
I'm driving it back
Grand Theft
into
Equine? Sorry, go, Scott.
All right, I'm driving the horse back into town. The guy is standing in the middle of the road, and I'm riding up to him. I slow the horse down. The horse skids, because I'm at a full-on gallop. The horse skids to a stop, bumps into him, knocks him down. He runs off. Oh, my God! You failed the mission.
Yeah, you've turned his horse against him.
Oh.
Here's my
that's-
question. How do you stop the horse? I could never figure it out.
R1.
Really?
Or right button. Yeah, or right bumper.
That is not intuitive at all.
It is not.
I
Even
was-
when you know it, it's still, you forget it.
Okay.
So that just drove me crazy. The guy made zero effort to move when he saw the horse galloping at him.
Yeah.
Maybe he was maybe he was doing insurance fraud from Saints Row
Maybe.
Wasn't it?
and make them ducats.
That's just the opening salvo of the stuff that just.
All right. Let me squeeze in a couple here then. My biggest issue with this game is I just couldn't pay attention because I kind of don't care about the West. I've never liked Westerns, never been a huge fan of the setting. The characters are really good. They did it really well for what it is, but it's just not my wheelhouse at all.
I totally agree. I've never ever been into westerns of any kind really at all, but this game totally grabbed me.
Yeah, same here. So I was shocked at how much it clicked for me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the closest I get to a Western is Blazing Saddles.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is the best Western.
No, that's a hotel chain.
Oh, well, yeah. Okay, fair enough.
If this were a Blazing Saddles type of game, I might have stood a shot at liking it.
God, someone should make that.
Well, there was certainly enough racism in it.
Well, yes.
To be
Not
Blazing
the right
Saddles.
kind. Not the right kind.
Oh, Jesus.
All right, moving on.
All right, look, this was Hulk Hogan racism, not Blazing Saddles racism. Big difference.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Anyway, can I complain some more?
Yeah,
Speaking
absolutely.
of
Go nuts.
inappropriate things,
Uh-huh.
I hated the skinning. Just all of it took way too long, but at least I got a cool porn name out of it,
Oh,
which is
no.
Buck Antlers.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I wish you could have skipped that animation at some point.
That, yeah, looting,
Well, why
skinning,
did it-
all that stuff was really frustrating because it was like, oh, we've got to play an animation here so they know what they're doing. It's like, no, I don't
And
care.
it changes
Just give
the
me
way you're.
stuff.
It changes the way you're facing
Yeah.
too,
Yep. Yep.
which is great for looting in the middle of a battle.
Yeah.
Yep. But why did it loot Why did it animate during your looting and skinning only at certain times?
I think that was just a glitch.
If you were close, like if a dude died like if he was hiding behind a rock or something, and the game couldn't reconcile how to do the animation and also put the rock in the screen and stuff,
It would just skip it.
Right, it would skip it and just pick it up automatically. To the point where I would skip looting dudes if they weren't next to a wall or a rock. Just because I didn't want to look at that animation again. Keep the money. I don't care.
I skipped looting dudes because it was like, oh, $5. And I've got like $3,000 from Five Finger Fillet. So no, I don't need to loot you. I don't care. I'm just going to pick up your ammo and be on my way.
Yeah. But even that, I mean, yeah, I guess they did drop their guns so you could just walk over.
Yeah, you just walk over. You could horse over the guns and pick up the ammo, which I loved.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
The horse just kicks it up to you.
And you're like, haha.
Yeah, it talks about the minigame stuff. We did that.
All right, I'll fill with some time here.
There you go.
I failed a mission.
Yeah.
I failed a mission because I was trying to figure out how to switch weapons within the same class, right?
Yeah.
So you pull the radical up or the little rose thing up,
Yeah.
and you go left and right or something. And this is the first time you get a weapon of the same class, and it tells you how to switch between them.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to do that, but you're with an escort.
Yeah.
Somebody's riding with you. They take off. So I'm just trying to figure this out, get the hang of this, trying to get it down. Boom, failed
Because they
Keep
got
up
too
with
far
the
away.
escort.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! What?
Escort missions, man.
Yeah.
That's an escort mission.
That's what all this.
They're
game
never
was.
good. They're never good.
This game was nothing but following people.
Well, and when you weren't following people, they had some things where they would just be like, okay, here's how you have to do this. You have to do this way. And I'm speaking specifically to when you go to get the ammunition for the Gatling gun. And you have to rescue Shaky. And you could very easily just kick down this door, Deadeye, and take out everyone in that room. But no, that's not an option. You have to go climb that ladder and drop in through the ceiling and then take out everybody.
Because video games.
Because video games, yes.
No, because well, yes. Let me do an improv thing, and yes, yes, video games, and Rockstar wants you to see how cool they set this up.
Yes.
So they want you to play the game however you want to, so long as they didn't come up with a better idea.
Yes. And, like, had they just shown from the inside that the door was barred, I'd be like, okay, that's fine. But the door's like, you could just... What are, door handles and locks like in the Old West? Like, I'm going to be able to kick this thing down. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the one moment where I was like... Especially because I fell off the roof, like, twice. Like, after had it been like a one and done, I would have been like, all right, that was kind of dumb, but whatever. And it would never made my list. But because I had to do it 3 times, and then of course before that you have Irish robbing nuns, which I was kind of like, that's a little gratuitous, but whatever, I don't care.
That was awesome.
That was pretty
Irish
good.
is the best.
It was one of the few things I liked.
But I was kind of like, all right. And then it set up an excellent line, which I believe his exact words were, "Christ, the church has more money than anybody."
Yeah. In his super thick Irish accent, like to the point where we all know that I turn subtitles on every game. I would bet that even if you had them off, they would have turned them on for him.
Yeah, probably.
It was so over the top. He was
good.
good.
And I just love that the Irish guy's name is Irish. It's like, really? You couldn't do anything better?
Well, I'm sure that wasn't his name. That's just what everybody who ever met him called him.
Yeah,
because he was that
Irish.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, fair enough.
So there was a couple of things that bugged me before I get to pedantic jackass corner. Long horse rides in the wilderness aren't exactly romantic when you're all by yourself, and
that's what you think.
Fast traveling, well, fast traveling, you skip all that stuff I was talking about earlier, and that takes out really all the redeeming pieces of the game. Like the cool sort of atmosphere and just sort of world you're traipsing through are what makes that game fun, but it just feels like a chore. Galloping all the way from Colorado down to Mexico for every other mission.
It's a little brutal.
I think it was maybe when you go to get the gun the Gatling gun. Do you remember the one guy who went up and distracted the guards? There's an NPC who's going to run up and distract the guards, and then you're supposed to sneak in behind him and go into the
Oh,
mine.
is this the cave?
Yeah.
That was Irish.
Yes.
Oh, that was Irish.
Was it Irish?
No.
No,
that
it
was a
wasn't.
dude you met out in
No.
the canyon.
It was just some random dude, right?
I think so.
Because he was speaking
Yeah.
Spanish to him.
Yeah, we're talking about the same point here. Yeah.
It took this guy like 75 seconds to walk down the ridge, come back around the ridge, walk up to these dudes, talk to him for 20 seconds, then get him mad. Like, I'm just standing here watching NPCs walk around.
Yeah.
And then guess what happens when you die and have to restart that?
You have to
I got an
that
idea.
all over again.
You have to watch them all over again.
Yeah.
So I thought I was going to be clever, and I ran ahead of them the second time, and got down to the bottom of the hill, and guess what? They just were taking their sweet time, cruising on down, like I wasn't even around. It took just as long because they just walked.
Because that's the scripting. 75 seconds later, this happens.
Yeah.
Pedantic Jackass Corner. I have two things, like I said.
Okay.
Marston's talking about the boat robbery.
Okay.
You know, back when he was an outlaw, they were robbing a boat, and some girl got shot, and she was a real pretty girl or whatever he brings up. He says her eye was hanging out by a tendon. Eyes don't have tendons. That's an optic nerve.
Yeah.
Eyes do not have tendons. No.
What
He
is a
doesn't-
tendon exactly? A tendon connects
Two
muscle
muscles.
to bone, or two muscles.
I think it's two muscles. I'm not 100% sure though. I think it's like around the joints only.
Regardless, not in. There's no ocular tendons.
Bone.
When did
bone
this game
to
take
muscle
place? Like
is a ligament.
1911? They didn't know.
Everything's a tendon. And then Irish was telling you that he was playing 4-card Monty with a Mexican general. Again, subtitles. They spelled it Monty, which is not how that's spelled. So maybe, I mean, to be fair, maybe they were playing a different game that I'm just not familiar with and I don't want to know about.
Maybe that's how Irish spells it.
Maybe.
It would have like an extra U in there or something.
Monty. Yeah.
And thus ends Pedantic Jackass Corner for this month.
All right. So, like I said at the top, this game had a lot of weird stuff in it when it launched. Did you guys encounter any of that stuff?
I never ran into any of those crazy bugs that everyone always
Okay.
claimed they saw, but
It seems like there was something bizarre that happened, but there were no horse-human hybrids or anything like that.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't run into anything crazy bananas, glitchy, just sort of stuff that didn't make sense in the context because they had too many, I'm using the wrong word here, but they had too many engines running at once. You know, they had the AI running and, you know, it was going from night to day and they had all these systems going.
Too many cylinders firing.
Can we talk about the night today?
Oh,
Part of my
like when the
frustration-
moon? Like when
part
the
of
moon
my
went from a
frustration
half
with this
moon to a
game
full in one
Is
ride?
I played too much of it in the dark.
Okay.
I liked it so much better during the day. But guess what? When you fast travel, we'll forward the clock 6 hours.
Yes, they do.
When you save it, we'll forward the clock 6 hours.
I would have really liked a system similar to Fallout's where you can pick how long you sleep and how long you wait.
Yeah,
And
I
like
think
keep it for fast travel, but just like measure how far I'm going and guesstimate how long it would take me to get there. Don't just like automatic 6 hours.
But isn't that like a standard Rockstar thing? Don't they do that in like all the Grand Theft Auto
It
games?
is,
It's
but
like
it
you
doesn't.
save.
But it doesn't mean it's good.
No, but
Oh, but it does because ING gave it 9.5.
Well,
Oh,
you know, and
IGN,
we are doing we are doing a lot of complaining here, and I think a lot of it's valid. But by and large, especially when this game came out, it was revolutionary.
It really was, and I think a lot of what we're seeing is just, I mean, I think we've all played a few more open world games since it came out, and what we're seeing is what I have to call the Matrix effect. If you go back and you watch the original Matrix movie, there's not a whole lot of special about it now, because every movie that came after it stole every little trick from it. So
and iterated
now,
and made those things better, and yeah.
Exactly.
Not
I hate to be
2 or
I hate
3.
to be that guy, but what revolutionary thing came out of this?
Out of this, just sort of, I don't know if it necessarily was a single thing, but just sort of the cohesive nature of the world.
Everything working in symphony, yeah.
Yeah, just sort of it sort of set a new high watermark for open world games at the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a combination of like the setting, the way they handled characters and stuff like that, and the fact that it was one of the first Rockstar games where combat wasn't just awful.
That made a huge difference.
Yeah, I mean, combat wasn't fantastic. It certainly wasn't like the best part of this game, but it was so significantly better than something like Grand Theft Auto 4 or like even some of the other
Max
open world
Payne
games at the time. Yeah,
maybe about as good. Like that's the only other one. But man, they were real good at making you feel like a badass.
Yes, they did a really good job of making you feel like, yeah, you're a cowboy and you're kind of better than all these other scrubs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as far as like weird open world stuff, I had two major things happen that were really entertaining. So the first one was after the Gatling gun mission, after you get the ammunition for it. I don't know what happened to him. I don't know where he went. But Irish was always talking to me. It always seemed like he was right next to me, and he was waiting for me to get in a carriage, and that carriage did not exist. And Irish could not be found anywhere. I ended up having to actually die to reload my last checkpoint so that I could find him.
Maybe he had a twin or something.
Yeah, it glitched out real hard on the wind condition of that mission or something, and just he disappeared. The other really funny one was when you're going along the river towards the Mexican border. There's guys that are like throwing dynamite in the water, and I managed to shoot one of those guys at just the right moment. He dropped the dynamite, and he started rolling. They both started rolling down the hill, so like the dynamite's a little in front of him. He's catching up, and just as they're about to like go into the water, the dynamite explodes. But like he was close enough to it. I think like the models were so close that like the force the dynamite exerted got increased like exponentially. He got blown clear across the river and like a good mile into the United States.
Oh yeah,
He just went bam, just across. And that was probably my favorite just crazy moment in this game. Was just like, oh, he's rolling down the hill. He's just boom, whoa.
He's just lucky he didn't burn up on re-entry.
Pretty much.
I had a couple of goofy things. They weren't glitchy or anything. When the emissary, all the bandits capture Bonnie, they send a dude to town to like tell you what their demands and stuff are. Yeah. It's 1:30 in the morning, pitch blackout. Dude comes up to the sheriff's station, sheriff's office. I don't even know what they called it. To the sheriff's house, whatever, where the sheriff lives. And threatens you and says whatever, here's what our demands are, etc. He goes, now y'all have a good rest of the afternoon, and wanders off into the night.
That's kind of awesome. I love that that's hard-coded.
Uh-huh.
Like, they could have easily recorded, like, 3 lines, like, have a good morning, have a good afternoon, have a good night.
They could have easily just made the default, like, this mission starts, and it's daytime. Like,
that's true.
It's that easy. Yeah. Nope.
That was another frustrating thing where you'd go to start a mission and it would be like, nope, wrong time.
Yeah,
but that's what I'm getting at. Yeah. Is that I then have to go save or travel, and it was always 6-hour increments, and I couldn't for the life of me figure out the clock.
Yeah,
I've been able to read a clock for 30 years, and I couldn't figure out the clock in this game.
Well, you had no AM or PM indicator.
Yeah,
right.
Which was a problem.
There was a little pocket watch when you hit the post screen.
Yes, but there was no AM or PM indicator on it, so you couldn't tell if it was full speed.
So if it's daylight, it's.
But is it 6 AM or is it 6 PM? Because those look real similar in that game.
Yes, I agree with Hannah here.
Nah, I think
drove
you guys
me
are stretching
crazy.
this one.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
The other thing I had was when I went to Mexico, I walked up to Landon Ricketts and I did all of his quest lines, start to finish. Didn't go talk to anybody else. And that's actually his last mission is where I gave up on the game this time. So on the last mission,
I was gonna say I made it just beyond that.
Okay. You made it farther than I did. I got to I think the middle of his missions. Like I got to the poker one, and then the one after that I started, and then I realized, I should probably go upstairs.
Well, his last mission. Now, mind you, I haven't spoken to anyone. Now, you can go to another town, and sort of there's a Mexican general who's trying to sort of stage a revolution and a coup and overthrow
That's
people.
where I gave up.
Because
I couldn't take it anymore.
The game is assuming that you've been going back and forth between these two guys and doing some missions over here, some over here. I haven't even met this Mexican general yet.
Yeah.
Landon Ricketts, only guy I know in Mexico. I knew a German guy, but he got shot. So we're going out to this last mission, and we're riding out there, and he's doing the talk at my face while we ride thing. And he starts getting all angry and calling me a flip-flopper and going off for like 15, 20 seconds on me and how I need to, you need to be careful who you trust and whatever, because if you keep picking both sides of this fence, you're going to fall on it. And he's going off on me when I've done nothing but help him.
Yeah.
And then does a total about face. And he goes, so you miss your family? You remind me a lot of me as when I was younger, son. Like, what? What's going on here? Did you have a stroke?
I could see that being real frustrating. That sounds oof.
Well, at that point, I was already yelling at the TV every chance I got. So,
no, fair enough. Oh, all right.
Yeah, I didn't make it much farther beyond that. There was a train section in the next set of missions where you're getting involved with that Mexican general, I guess is what it is.
Okay.
You're getting tied up in that revolution. You're like putting the rebels down or something. And you've got to escort a train. And the rebels are attacking the train.
I seem to remember liking that one.
I really liked that mission.
I didn't get to that one.
It's a cool set piece.
Yeah.
Because it's an old train robbery kind of thing. You're on the horse riding with the train through this giant, it's not desert, but it's sort of, Mexican wilderness, and the dust is kicking up, and, horses are coming over the hill and riding towards the train, and then they sort of turn, and they're going with the train, and you gotta shoot the guys up. Oh, it was great.
Yeah, I thought so, too.
One of the issues I had was there are guys on the rebel side, and there are guys on your side on horseback. If you shoot one of the guys on your side, who is not indicated in any way that he's on your side, other than not being a red dot on your map, the mission ends and you fail.
That's a thing where like you go back to this game, and at the time it was like, oh well, it was like an accepted flaw, but nowadays like that's just like completely not okay.
Yeah. Most of the time, if you pointed your weapon at a friendly, they would like duck or cower or something like that to indicate that don't shoot me.
That maybe works when you're plodding your way through a cave or something. If you're on horseback shooting every living thing coming around because you're trying to protect a train, it didn't work.
That's where honestly, that's where that snapping aim stuff comes in handy, because it will never snap to a friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if they're all lined up together, which is how it happened to me, it wasn't like he's out by himself in the middle of the field and I was like, hey, let's go get Bill, Jose. It was, they were all really mixed together and riding together. I'm just shooting. Boop, boop. I'm not even snap aiming, right? I'm just boop, 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 boop. And then it's like all of a sudden I failed it. And I went, what? Okay. All right. I get it. Sure.
Yeah.
That happened to me a lot when I'd run across the sort of incidental stuff when you're out in the wilderness, where somebody'd be getting robbed or there'd be a gunfight or something like that. And I'd run up and point my gun at what appeared to be the aggressors. They were not the aggressors. I just helped them rob this guy. Like, I must have done it like 5 times.
That's like walking down the street and someone's like, hey, can you help me move some stuff out of my apartment?
Yeah, it was rough. There were a couple of good lines, sort of some cool little moments that I dug. I will tell you this. Bojack does not like it when I skin horses.
Oh, yeah.
He made that very clear.
Oh, boy.
There was some really great vocab at the beginning.
Yeah.
They said implore, reticence. I was a fan. There is a guy. Do you guys remember the dude in the top hat who you sort of just find on a hill somewhere?
Yeah, the stranger or whatever the heck he's called.
Yep.
No.
If you play through the whole thing, which is to say the whole game, I mean, it's pretty heavily intonated that is supposed to be God, like capital G God.
Huh.
Yeah.
So when I ran across him, I hog-tied him and jumped off a cliff with him. He didn't see it
God
coming.
is dead, and it's your fault.
Nietzsche Simulator 2015. And so there was another section, I was talking about the blue dots and sort of just running across people. I saw some dudes at a campfire. And I don't know if I was just feeling whimsical or wanted to see what they were talking about or something. So I rode over to the campfire and I hitched up Bojack and I sat down. And they weren't really saying too much. It was just kind of boring. So I stood up and got on Bojack to ride off. Well, they must have really wanted me to hear the end of that story because they opened fire. They were really mad that I didn't listen to the punchline of that joke. They're all dead.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can only assume so.
No, I insured it. I made sure they died on the fire.
Oh boy.
So that was on my weird sort of funny little stuff that I ran across.
Nice. All right.
Any other sort of weird emergent stuff, or did you just have the weird dude flying into space?
Just dude flying into space. There wasn't a whole. I think they've really smoothed out the bugs in this game, as far as I can tell. But nothing really weird or emergent. Just. I actually really, I mean, I feel like we do this a lot. Like, it doesn't sound like we enjoyed this game. I know I had fun with it during my time with it.
It doesn't sound like we enjoyed this game? I know one of us didn't.
I know one of us didn't.
I loved it my first playthrough. This time, I didn't dislike it. I was just more nitpicky because
You've played it before.
we're taking notes, and I played it before, so I didn't get absorbed in all the stuff that just sort of sweeps you up when you first play the game.
Yeah.
You know, I was looking at it a lot more analytically because I knew what happens in the plot.
I think I sort of had the same thing, and it's sort of one of those situations you almost can't go home again.
It does kind of feel that way. I sort of wish, and Jive, please don't take this the wrong way.
Okay.
I sort of wish that this hadn't come up for Game Club. Not because I would discourage anyone from playing it, because I wouldn't. I just kind of feel like I sort of ruined my memory of the first time I played this game by going back to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish I would have finished it. I almost wish I still had my save from when I first played it, but I don't know what happened to it. Because I was literally, the point I got up to today was the point I was at, so I could have literally just been like, okay, I'll do a refresher and I'll beat the game.
Well, you're going to be playing Metal Gear until you die.
Yes.
But once that's done with, there's actually a couple of other cool sort of set pieces.
Mm-hmm.
The last sort of area you go to is like this mountainous sort of Colorado mountain forest kind of thing.
Okay.
It's so nice to see green in that game and snow and stuff.
That's a great area.
It's like Pioneer Hills or something like that. But it looks almost like, I said Colorado, but I guess it's closer to like maybe Oregon or something, because there's like a logging camp up there and all the trees are covered in snow, and
Yeah.
it's worth sticking through if you have time to get to it, just to sort of see how they did that piece, because it's very refreshing.
Plus, you can hunt Bigfoot up there.
Oh,
If you have the Game of the
nice.
Year edition, you can.
Yeah. That sounds awesome.
And one of the achievements I'm remembering now is there are like 5 or 10 buffalo in the game.
No, there's like 20 of them, I think.
Was it 20? Okay. Regardless, it's not a huge number, and it's set. And there's an achievement for making the buffalo extinct.
Yeah, it's called Manifest Destiny.
Yeah!
That's a good one.
There are some other good achievement names, like heading south on a white Bronco is one.
Ooh.
What's the one? Dastardly is for putting a hogtied lady on the tracks.
The train has to kill her.
Yes.
Oh, yeah?
And you have to watch it. You
See?
can't just leave her there and assume.
I mean, there's a lot of great stuff like that to sort of, and here's the other thing is I do sort of feel like we were playing this sort of under a time crunch to some degree.
Yes.
Even though we are a week late because of PAX.
Yeah.
This is a game that you sort of, it's one of those things that I don't think it translates as well if you play it every night for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of got to pick it up for 45 minutes and put it down, and then maybe play for 2.5 hours on a Saturday and come back to it later, and just so you can just wander and just run across stuff.
I mean, in general, you don't want to try and crunch that much content down into a month. Like the open world games, I feel like when we try to do that, we tend to have not as good impressions of them.
Well, we don't do them justice either.
No, I don't think so.
That's partially on us, but
Yeah.
It's a little rough, but I was glad to be reminded of all the awesome stuff about it.
Yeah. Same
Yeah.
here.
And we haven't even talked about the multiplayer, which I thought was incredible and probably my favorite piece of DLC of all time, and the Undead Nightmare.
Go ahead about
Yeah,
it.
go for it.
None of us
Floor is
played it,
yours.
and I'm over zombies, so...
I played
man.
it forever ago and loved it, but I don't remember almost anything about it.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't get a chance to play it this time. I didn't even make it to Mexico on this playthrough, to be honest. But I don't know. I love zombies. I've always loved zombies. I just thought that that DLC was incredible. I don't really know of any that I liked more, other than maybe the Tiny Tina DLC from Borderlands.
That was the best DLC ever, but that's not what we're talking about here. Undead Nightmare what made it so cool is that, and I guess sort of heart-wrenching, and because yeah, it's an alternate universe or whatever, but all the characters that you met in the game proper had become zombies, and like, including your wife and kid. That's how they start the DLC. Is I believe your wife bites your kid.
Yeah, which is not such a bad thing, because when you have to play as him in the later game, his voice is horrible. Come on, Nag! Come on, Nag!
Yeah, and it gets worse from there as far as bleak.
Wow.
But the DLC did have the 4 Horses of the Apocalypse that you could pick up.
Which, and hunting those things down was really fun, I thought.
Yeah, War was, it had these, it looked like the Warlock steed from WoW.
Okay, nice.
Pestilence was like all skeletons and stuff.
Yeah.
And like with War, they all had their own special sort of feature. Like War would light the ground underneath him on fire. So then you just corral zombies and burn them.
Oh, nice.
Or run over animals or whatever.
Yep. That was a real good DLC, and in fact, I would almost maybe, if you didn't hate zombies, it's a standalone DLC.
Okay.
I would almost maybe recommend getting, if you don't want to jump into a 70-hour game, you can kind of get the gist of if you're going to like this game just by playing that. Okay. And it's not going to be as poignant because you don't know any of these characters, but standalone, pretty good.
I wonder if I would have enjoyed that more.
Probably.
I feel like you would have.
It's a much goofier game.
Yeah, I wonder if that would have been more my style. Because I think maybe that could have been the hook to keep me interested, maybe.
Possibly.
Well, I mean, it's probably like $10. You could probably pick it up.
Yeah.
I don't.
Since you have such a great rapport with the game.
Yeah. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's time to end my moratorium on zombie stuff.
I wouldn't start it back up with Undead Nightmare, but yeah, it's good. It's good.
Cool. Was there anything really? I remember hearing a lot of chatter about the multiplayer when this game first came out. Was there anything really like special or different about it?
It felt real cool riding, and I have to be very careful when I discuss the multiplayer because there are lots of posses.
Okay.
Yes. Posseing up was very fun.
Yeah, you and 5 of your friends riding into a box canyon all on horseback, just cutting dudes down, felt incredible. Yeah. Unfortunately, everyone quit playing the game, and it almost never happened.
Yeah. So was it like a deathmatch style? Were there objectives? What was the crux of the multiplayer?
There was an open world, and inside that open world, there was like just a whole bunch of different game modes you could go do.
So this was kind of like a predecessor to like the GTA 5 Online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Or you had team deathmatch and stuff you could sign up for as a posse.
And it was 16 players, so you could posse up with 6 of your friends, and you could encounter 6 other people and just totally, duke it out.
Nice.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the cool stuff about the multiplayer. The modes were fine. It was just more Red Dead. Yeah. But what was cool about it is just sort of the playground they dropped you in. That it kind of felt like any of you guys ever go paintballing?
Yeah.
Long time ago.
It kind of feels like that when you're in the open world and you can just run across dudes and all of us, you don't know if they're hostile or not until you get close enough and they shot at me. Because of course it's the internet. Yep. That's what made that multiplayer fun.
I really liked there was kind of a wanted level bounty element to it too. You could raise your bounty and it would alert them, and they would try and come and hunt you down and try and earn cash and stuff based on how high your bounty was.
That sounds really cool, actually.
Yeah, it was really fun. So there's a place, the doctor's office inside Armadillo. Mm-hmm. I would get my bounty up, and then I would go in there and hide behind that counter because there was only one way in that place. And then people would just constantly try and come in there and get me, and I would be just mowing them down until someone would throw dynamite in, of course. But
yeah.
How long did the bodies stay before they despawned? Like, was there a giant pile of bodies that they were having to clip through to get to you?
Yeah.
That is wonderful.
Yeah. That was very fun.
I love that.
All right, I'm done with this game.
All right.
No more.
No more? All right.
No more.
Then no mas, as you would have to say down in Mexico in this game. So yeah, I think that's it for Red Dead Redemption. Thank you guys for joining me again. Scott, Jay-Z, Jive. Great having you.
Yeah, no problem.
It was a ton of fun.
Find us on Twitter.
Absolutely. So you can find us on Twitter if you're watching the live stream. That information is below, but you can find Scott. Where can we find you?
I'm everywhere under the name Nintendork327.
Jay-Z?
The other Jay-Z, that's J-Z-E-E.
Yep.
J-Z-E-E.
Yeah.
Yeah. On Twitter and also PSN.
Yep. And Jive?
I am everywhere as Jai495.
Cool. And, of course, I'm everywhere as the Hannah. Anywhere I am not the Hannah, I am Hannah of Doom. So I think that about wraps it up, gentlemen. Thanks for joining me, and thank you, everybody else. We'll catch you next month. Oh, one last thing. Just to cap it off, the next game for Game Club is Vanquish.
I'm psyched.
That is on PS3, 360, and I want to say it got a PC release, but I can't confirm that until I finish.
You'll
the
just have to wait for
sentence.
my post now, won't you?
We will.
I know for sure it was on PS3 because it was a PS Plus game.
Yes, it's definitely on PS3.
And
I played like
360.
25 minutes of it and just sort of forgot about it. So I am real jazzed to go back and play that.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
gonna have to check to see if I have that, because I pretty much grab all the free stuff. So
You probably do. It's Platinum Games, so it's bound to be at least interesting and
Crazy.
weird and strange. And yeah, just to confirm, yes, yeah. So that was Musim's suggestion. So hopefully we'll have him on here next month.
Cool. Can't wait.
a professional podcast.
Maybe he'll play some special music for us or something.
Ooh, that could be
Yeah,
fun.
because it's real easy to just compose songs
Yeah,
for nothing.
Totally, 100%. Can confirm. Was in a band.
I did too this afternoon before the show.
Yep.
I did 3.
Nice. Nice.
Don't be a one-upper.
Anybody else got anything else to plug? Jive, you want to plug your band?
doesn't
Currently
exist
not in a band, yeah.
Oh, really? I thought you were still with them.
No.
Oh, bummer.
Well, this is real embarrassing. You've embarrassed
bad.
us all.
Oops. Oops.
You know,
I'm the worst.
babies.
Yeah,
Oops.
they do that, from what I hear.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for joining me, gentlemen. Have a good one.
All right. See you next month.
Bye.
Bye.
Later.